The year 1864. What does that mean? Re-election time. But this is going to be very hard for Abraham Lincoln, especially since his popularity is actually very low. Even if Gettysburg has already happened, the whole populace is against him. I mean everyone. Most people hated slavery simply because it would be bad for their development. But none of them had moral ground. So how exactly would Lincoln win the election? Well, he says that without a military major victory, then there is a slight chance that he and his cabinet will not be reelected. Abe, did he say major victory? Well, go back down to Sherman. Sherman decided to split the entire place in half. Well, we've already split it this way and already this way, so now he's going to make it even more separated. So 3 sides, he's going to do that. And to do this, he needs to capture one place. Atlanta. He has been laying siege in Atlanta for a long time, and guess what? Do you know? Yes, the heart of the Confederate States of America, fell in a few days. This was a major boost for Lincoln's popularity, and Lincoln's rival runner, aka George McClellan, how exactly is he able to win? Maybe he's able to get the support from the Confederates or something. But George B. McClellan dropped out of the race, and of course, Lincoln won by an electoral college landslide. And you would be like, Andrew, what's the electoral college? Link in the end of the video. Click it after you're done with the video, of course. But here, Sherman decides to do something unprecedented. He was going to do something that some might consider a war crime, but he was going to make the famous March to the Sea. He would stay in Atlanta, resupply his troops, burn it all to the ground, and continue marching in a path all the way to the sea, from the capital of Georgia to the end of Georgia, aka the ocean. From there, he will march up into South Carolina to wreak his revenge on the first state to secede. He burned many houses, killed many civilians, and many will consider it to be against the rules of war. But I say, it's war. That's what you gotta do. Take the morale of the enemy, snap it in half. That's what you gotta do in war. And plus, total war, that's what it needs to be. Good thing total war never actually ever happened again. Oh, what a wonderful day to be in Hiroshima. Oh, a Japanese plane. Hey, America, is that a nuclear bomb? What can it do? Oh, crap. That's the exception. Never happened again. I swear, seriously, it did happen again. But what is the good side about it? Sherman has now split it half and then into 3 parts. And now, of course, Johnston has been surrendered, and Johnston is one of the largest armies in the entire Confederacy, but he has surrendered fighting for Atlanta. So what now? Oh no, it's General Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee, of course, was a great military strategist. He is emphasized as one of the greatest military strategists in American history. And I get that, but his first few victories were awesome. His later during the Civil War, he's starting to lose. Ever since Gettysburg, his popularity has started to drop down extremely suddenly, like the Mariana Trench, or a big tree, or say a big stick. It just dropped down like that, like a water slide, or one of Chuck E. Cheese's water slides, whatever those are. They look like big poles that you walk on and then you fall down into your watery graves. That's what it looks like. But that's what it was. And now, finally, Abraham Lincoln had put General Grant in charge. Now, finally, the Union's top man was going to fight with the Confederates' top man. And this was gonna be sick! Now, Abraham Lincoln had expected Grant to do something new, and yes, Grant did something new. Instead of doing the usual thing like charge, if you fail, then you run back and resupply, that's not what Grant did. Grant knew that the Confederates were losing men and have a small amount of remaining active servicemen. So, plus, the Union troops outnumbered them more than 10-1. So, and Grant was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. Plus, I can resupply my men anytime. So, he decided to change to a new tactic. When he gets beat into Confederate territory, instead of retreating back into Union territory, he would come back down and flank them all the way to the Confederate capital of Richmond. Of course, Lee knew that this was bad, and Lee just held out off of the city of Richmond, and Grant went to another city so that they can flank the city and also hopefully at least cut off the Confederate supply lines. Lee was like, hell no, and went down there and created a siege. This siege lasted a few months, and actually, Sherman was still doing his march at this time, until finally the fall of Lee. Robert A. Lee went away from the sieged town and ran into Richmond. When Richmond was under siege, he evacuated along with the President Davis. And then the capital of the Confederate States of America was captured. Davis went into hiding while Lee continued moving south, hoping that he could meet with another general, hoping that he could continue to fight over and over again. But Grant was not going to let that happen. He chased him down, and finally, Lee, at a place near Appomattox courthouse, he surrendered. And he surrendered there to General Grant. This did not end the Civil War, but the war was as good as done, and thousands of people in the North cheered as finally the 4 years of grueling war that had killed so many fellow Americans is now over. During Lee's surrender, one soldier who was present at the courthouse was noticed by General Lee. And General Lee said, "I'm glad to see a real American here." And the man said, "We are all Americans."